Hello everybody, welcome to League of Europe Endure. I am your host, QBR Killer. It's round 4 or 3 or 5, it's one of them. One of the numbers between 2 and 6, I'm not actually sure. I'm here to take you through proceedings this evening, and we're at Circuit of the Americas, a track that was dominated in Division 2 League this season by a devilishly handsome championship leader, not to be a championship leader for much longer, of course. Bigger Rickarich. We're on board with California 5. A man so allergic to the game he uses medium traction. Here he is coming towards turn 12. Wait, I'm in game chat. I need to shut up. I need to get in a party. Get out of game chat. Sorry if you can hear me. Where am I? There we go. I'm out of game chat. Life's good. I'm eating chips. Oh, California's fun. Bit shit from him. Nathan's gone provisional pole with a 33.9. Let's have a look at Ariel Felipe. He died here about 3 laps into the League of Europe race. Under a safety car, I think, as well. Very impressive. Passes just about the stricken Mercedes of California 5. Nathan's on provisional pole right now by a second from Harry Nouag in the Ferrari, Miami 4S in Alfa Romeo. Realistic performance, of course. 100% race. I'm commentating because I am a sadist. Or is it a masochist? It's one of those. Person who hates themselves. Felipe goes second on a 34.3. Let's have a look at another driver. Luco 5 HD, our reigning champion here. Coming towards turn 20. The Andretti, as David Croft and James Head 14 would call it. Have we got... That's a terrible lap from Luke, properly terrible. Timon's invalid. Pharrell Williams coming towards the last corner. Now let's see what he can do. You may note my distinct lack of enthusiasm. Gary has my nudes, which is the only reason I'm commentating this evening. 34.8 for Ariel Farrell. Anyone else close to finishing the lap? There goes Jay Hings, 04 up to P6. Carmentos in P7 there. They hit Melty. Is going to be the next one across the line. Currently being blocked by an Alpha Tauri. Will not be too happy about that. Unless, of course, Melty's backed off, which I have a sneaky feeling he might have done. Let's get lap data up. Yes, he has absolutely backed off. By about 7 seconds or so. Let's see where Rocco's at. On the hard tyres, 4.5 through the middle sector. This will not be a particularly good lap, but it's Rocco. It was never going to be anyway, was it? Let's on a reel. In the standings, Carmentalist currently leads by 12 points from QVR Campbell. California 5 is third on further 5 points back. Rocco on 3.58 and then Farrell on 3.57. So it's 3.82, 3.70, 3.65, 3.58, 3.57. And then a sizable gap back to RJ on 2.91 and Miami on 2.89 and Pete on 2.84. They're very close together as well. So there's a big battle between our top 5 in the championship right now. Rocco goes P11. And Timon has gone again for a lap, but he's out of the R, or was out of the RS. He's turned it off, I think, and got very wide with an excursion off the track there at turn 11, and is now weaving to get some heat into the tyres. People are back out for their second runs. I'd say that Luke's going again. He's fueled up for a few laps, that's why his pace was perhaps a little lacking. He's done a recharge lap and he's going again on the hard tyre here. Drivers probably wanting to save their softs for the race, knowing that a large amount of pit stops are perhaps a distinct possibility. Hello to the 5 people of you who are watching. That says Killer Blue, my goat. Yes, I am a goat because goats are stupid. I've got nothing else I should be doing with my life. What is? Anyway, where's Luke at? I'm just eating some chips. Oh, we got 7. I'm going to go in the LAU General and beg people to watch the stream so I don't feel so lonely, all like my time's being wasted. Luke's a quarter of a second down on his lap so far. And I don't know if he improved because I was looking at my phone. Brent 3 minute sector 1037, one of 6 drivers without a lap so far. That includes both Red Bull, both Aston Martins, Marty, Melty, Wouter, Pease, respectively. Timon and Brent, sorry, the other 2 drivers yet to set a lap. Felipe is the first, I think, to complete his 2nd run of the day. Here comes Brent around the last corner now. His teammate Luke is in P9, albeit on the hard tyres. And Brent goes P3. Nice effort from Brent there. Let's have a look at where Nolan's at. Oh, he's just starting, apologies. That was a timing error. I'm not sorry, I'm giving you nausea from the camera changes. Campbell is on the hard tyres. Rocco is going again on a set of hards, getting some experience in, particularly if he drives Luke still out on those original set of hards. Carmentalist is coming around the last corner. This could be a good lap from Carmentalist in the Williams Championship leader, of course. P8, I've got no idea, was that starting lap? I wasn't paying attention. I think Coxey definitely is on a lap though. We'll be aiming for around a 1 minute 3 through the middle sector. Could have got turn 12 a touch more there, but still a good effort. 6/10 up, this will put him towards a low 35. It's quite spread out where he is, so that'll only gain him 2 places for now. But we've got a couple of drivers in the 134.9, so Ryan can find a bit more time in the far sector. He's got a whiff of row 3 here. If he can suss something out for the last couple of corners, have a look how aggressive he is. Uses all the track on the way in and ends up straying some way wide at Apex turn 19 for his troubles. Round the last corner comes Coxey, DRS open stage, the right very short run. Goes P7, a 35.1, ended up losing some time in the final sector. It was a difficult turn 19 and I can't see who else is coming close to that. RJ's not going for it. Carmentalist is 800 down in the first sector. Jay Hings come around the last corner. I think that's just starting up. It is indeed. So Miami's up by 2/10. Farrell, we don't know. Brent is up. Nolan's aborted his lap. Nathan's down by 300. That's a running ball with Nathan. Currently provisional pole in the Haas. So let's see if he connects to his advantage. Still on provisional pole by 4/10 of a second. No one's managed to split him and Nolan at this point. Turn 12. Cut it, sit nicely, uses the track on the exit, bring it to the left hand side for 13, hook it in, don't get too greedy with the curb on the inside there, a little twitch of traction just to settle the car down, and then 15, so many lines you can take in. Nathan takes a high line, will cut underneath the corner and accelerate nice and quickly, get some good traction, and 16, 17, 18 all blur into one. You want to stay nice and tight through there. 19, flick it in, avoid the orange bump on the inside. Use the curb on the outside to extend as much as you can. Turn 20, tricky little corner, trickier than it looks. And Nathan does improve by a quarter of a second. It's 33.6. Larkin has nipped into second place on a 34.2 while I was talking, so they have now been split. Farrell is up in the Mercedes, of course, in a very quick car. 33.8 goes P2. Lays the gauntlet down to Nathan, albeit just over a 10th off still. Miami 4S improved a little bit, I think, but not massively. Jay isn't improving. California has had another spin, not enjoying the medium traction. I don't want to, be hypercritical, but if you can't hack medium traction, I'm not sure you should be here personally. But RJW Videos starting his lap, at least I think is. No, he's not, he's just finished, apologies. Timon invalid again. Won't be surprised. Pease had a very competitive middle sector at 3.5. The Aston Martin, the slowest car over one lap in this game. Last corner to go. Pease not using too much on the exit. Tiny bit of derating on the end. Goes P6. Just shy of Brent by 300s. Miami's very close to the Aston Martin there and his compatriot California 5. Let's have a look at Wouter. Very similar pace to P's through Sector 2. Oh, but a big snap on the exit of turn 20, and in the end that cost him 10th and a half shy of his teammate. Harry Nowag's retired in the pit lane. So 5 minutes to go. We'll be just waiting to see now the final runs in qualifying. And while we do that, while we wait for the final runs, I am going to go and get some Coca-Cola. Actually, that's a lie. I'm going to get some Pepsi from my fridge. Got my Pepsi, guys. Life's good. Who's on an outlap? Who's close to starting lap? Felipe is the furthest ahead, is he? Or is it commented? It might be commented. It's Campbell and commented. Campbell's on hard. He's going to come in and make a quick change. It's commented. Let's go through a full lap with ex-car mentalist. I'll get some more chip. Right, turn 20. I'm going to take a really wide line in, set the car up nicely, get it straight nice and early to get as much speed as you can towards turn 1. You rise over the crest, the corners unsighted as you approach it, take a wide line in, kiss the inside curb, use all of the track on the exit as it drops down away from you, hug the inside of turn 2 for the shortest run, and then you want to straight line these as much as you can, 3, 4, and then down 1 gear for turn 5, stay in 6, hug the inside line again, let the track roll away from you, then flick it into 7, 8, take a wide line in again, open up the corner, cut 9 if you're feeling brave, use the curb on the exit to settle it, 10's a non-corner in a Formula 1 car, and then 11, brake in a straight line to avoid locking up, turn into second gear, a little bit deep for car mentalist there, but still got the car nice and straight for the run towards turn 12, and as you ascend to the pearly gates of heaven in qualifying here, into the light of the evening Texan sun, and then turn 12, you can cut a lot here, brake in a straight line, turn in early, use all of the inside of the track there, and avoid having to use some of the outside. Turn 13, you can kiss the curb or you can just sweetly miss it, big over snap from there from car mentalist again, like Nathan did, take a wide line into 15, open up the corner, straighten it nice and early, get on the traction, and get the power down, 16, 17, 18. If you need to make a little lift, do so, hug the inside line, it's quicker than going flat out and taking the wider line, flick it into 19, as we said, avoid that orange bump on the inside, use the outside curb to settle the car, turn 20, uphill, tricky braking, but not too bad, and that's a nice lap from Cummins. Goes P9 on 34, 7, oh, and Felipe's into the wall, glad we caught that on stream. Larkin is not on a quick lap right now, nor is Brent. Wow's on that lap as well. Miami's just started. Coxey's backed off. Jahing's on a lap. The 4-1 through the middle sector. Not particularly great. Half a second down on what P's and Wows were doing in the Aston Martins we saw earlier on. He's on an out lap actually, I think. Is anyone on a lap? Luke's on a lap. Let's go with Luke. What's this through the middle sector? A 25.5. Half a second in the first sector. That's the difference between the hards and the softs for Lukey boy. Reigning champion, currently sitting 4th in Division 2 in League of Europe, and on for a potentially good result here if he can haggle something out of those soft tyres. Half a second already, we can find another half a second in the 2 remaining sectors. That'll take him towards a mid-34, which would put him right on pace with his teammate. A lot of time to be found in Sector 3, I'm sure. Keep an eye on that time tower on the left in case anyone's making any improvements. Both AlphaTaurians retired now, Rocco and Nolan, of course. Pisa and Walter just started up. Luke's now 1.4 seconds up through the middle sector, so he's in a very good position. Melty has gone P8. He's split the two Aston Martins. Just ahead of us, we've got the second William, I think that's commentated, on their in-lap, and just getting out of Luke's way there. That'll be a little bit of a distraction. Turn 19, that's nicely done from Luke. Doesn't wander wide of the apex. Miami's popped into P9 as well, so Wouter drops another place. Luke's just got a short dash to the line now. It's going to be a 33.9. Just joins the 39 club and goes P3. Brent's going to join him. I think he's improving by a couple of tenths through the sector, but a big moment on the exit. And in the end, 1,000th down. Pease is improving by 800s through the middle part of the lap. Wouter's up by nearly a tenth and a half after just the first sector. What's Larkin doing? Larkin's up by 600s, coming through sector 2 now. Completely misses turn 12, but still just holding on to an advantage. Marty's gone faster than that with a 33.4. Nathan has backed off, so let's go back to Pete coming around the last corner now. 800s up, run out of VRS across the line. It's 34.3, goes P8. Wouter now 4 tenths up. Who's Wouter? Really good lap this, 103.1 through the middle sector. Larkin's just ahead of him coming towards the last corner now. We saw that mistake at turn 12, which would have cost at least a tenth and a half, maybe 2. Does improve, but only by a small amount. Stays P5. Wouter goes P5 then with a 34.0. It's just Nathan left. He's invalidated. Melty's already finished his lap, so that concludes qualifying here. And it's Marty on pole, as feels like custom in League of Europe at this point in Endure. Nathan is second, Farrell is third. We know how Farrell's Endure races tend to go. He'll lead for 10 laps and then vanish off the face of the earth for the rest of the race. Expect Luke, Wouter, Larkin, and I would say to those 3 and 4, 5th and 6th, they're going to be, I think, deep threats in this race. They're going to be those drivers that have the stamina to contend all the way to the end. We're just waiting for Melty and Nathan to retire from the session, or 47 seconds, whatever comes first. And then we will be ready to rumble. So Marty's on pole by a quarter of a second almost from Nathan, then Farrell is third, Luke is fourth, Wouter's fifth, Larkin sixth, Rocco and RJ on row 4, Pease and Nolan on row 10. Brent just misses out, he's P11 but sneaks within a second of pole. Melty's 12th, Miami's 13th, Carmentless in the end only good enough for 14th, that lap we saw from what was P8 originally. Campbell is 15th, nowhere in this session. California 16th, Harry Noir 17th, Coxey 18th, Jay Hings 19th, and Timon never managed to set a lap in P20th. So what tyres do we think we're going to see people start? I think we're going to get a fair mix. Actually, let's go in stream chat. Oh, we're back 25 people. Why is no one watching? I'm very entertaining. Luke said hi. Chris said Haas domination. Melody said yeah, it pain in relation to like Jake said Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Pepsi any day. VR Gustav said, wait, is it realistic? Yes, it is realistic, which is why we've got a nice jumbled grid. Currently we've got D3, D1, D4 and P3, then D2, D1, D2, D1, D2, D1, D2, D3, D3, D2, but should be D3, D1, D1 doesn't race in League of Europe. D4, D2 and stopped. D4, D2 and stopped. Let's have a look at the tyres. We've got split. Harry Noir and Nolan on softs. Larkin and RJ and Coxey and J Hings on hards. Everybody else has got for a set of the medium tyre. That takes us through to the race. Oh yes, Dylan's offered to co-commentate with me, or has he? I don't know. Let's add him in. Hope he shows up. Or maybe he hasn't. He's watching that thing. Oh fuck, shit! I shouldn't have done that. I need him to come in, so I've got someone to ask for a prediction. Hey, and here he is, the best Curaçaoan in League of Europe, Mr. God of War himself, a man with immaculate game taste. QVR then.
Hello, good evening. How are you today, Jake?
I am well, even better for seeing California 5 drop it on medium traction on his way to the grid. That's the third time he's spun on medium traction. It's mightily impressive. Give me a top 3, Dylan. Have you got an invite to the lobby? I can invite you.
I have not, but I'm trying to join as soon as possible.
Right, I've sent you an invite. In the meantime, let's go through the start. Let's get rid of the gump on the screen. We've got 20 cars. Can we get a good camera angle to go with it? I don't think we can, but we've got 5 lights at Kota for round whatever it is of Endure, and we're underway. It looked like a pretty even start there between Marty and Nathan. I think Nathan might have just got the advantage, and he has their neck and neck towards turn 1. And, look at Farrell there, sending up the inside of Marty. I think he might sneak through. Marty's forced out the outside of the track. They're going to be side by side through turn 2. Marty's got the inside line. It'll switch to the inside for Farrell. Farrell's going to be a brave duck to hold this one up. And they're still at it towards turn 3 and 4. But Marty just about comes up on top. We've got a little bit of jostling going on in the middle there. The Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari of Timon and James are having a proper ding-dong at the back of the field. Let's have a sneak through the middle. And we've got what looked like a little bit of pushing and shoving there. Felipe and Larkin with elbows out. And who's that having a look? That's Wouter. Try and have a look at Farrell. Felipe is at the inside of Larkin now. Into turn 11 on those soft tyres. Larkin's going to get slipstream, ironically, from Nolan's teammate Rocco down towards turn 12. And Nolan's going to have to give that one up for now, as we hit the major braking zone on the track for the first time, and Nolan's going for it here into turn 12. Larkin will not want to give that up, but I think he might have to with those harder compound tyres. He's got to be vulnerable here to Pease around the outside of 13. This could be a horrific lap for Larkin. I think he's going to have to concede a second place, and indeed he does. Pease is through as the 2. Alpha Tauri's nearly come to blows there. Larkin, I keep saying Larkin. Nolan trying to make up another place. And is he going to cut back under his teammate there towards turn 19? No, he's not. But Dylan, you're in. We've had a bit of a frenetic opening lap, but no damage it looks like. And California 5 hasn't spun yet. Dylan?
It's definitely been an exciting start to the race for the time that I've been in the race so far. I saw Brent having a half moment out of the at the exit of the straight, and he's now dropped a few positions in this race, unfortunately for him. But it's been nice and clean so far, and QVR Nathan has had a nice lead so far in this race, and he keeps extending that.
And as we say that, Nolan has had an absolute mare with a 3-second penalty already. Getting a little bit too excitable, I think, in his excursions. Oh, and turn round there. Campbell's been hit by Melty at turn 9. The Scotsman plummets to last place, but he's been no stranger to having his race ruined early on in D1 this season. He's going to have to fight back, as he did at Jeddah on Saturday, for an improbable race result. Nathan is 1.4, as you said, ahead of Marty. Marty's now very much pulling away from Farrell up front as Nolan does now get past his teammate into turn 12, and Rocco, I think, sensibly gives that one up because Nolan's tyres are going to go off quite quickly. And Melty, after turning around Campbell, now gets spun round himself there by like Commentated or RJ Videos, one of those couple of guys there, and poetic justice is served, for they hate Melty.
I think it was Harry Newark. I think Harry Newark tried to go around the outside, and I wasn't quite on board with it, but I imagine it was a little bit of side pod contact, unfortunately for them.
We've got a pair of spins there, Coxey and Timon. No one out of the race yet, but 5 drivers have been spun round. And there's nearly contact there between Coxey and Timon into turn 19. DRS now enabled, but Melty, Campbell, Timon, Coxey, Brent have all had moments in this race as Harry Noag goes wheel to wheel in Miami. That's the second time we've seen Alfa Romeo and Ferrari go at it today. Already, we're only on lap 3, and Miami just about hanging on this time. Up ahead, though, with DRS now in effect, can Wouter start to think about doing anything about Farrell, or is Farrell too quick for him? The gap's 8 tenths right now.
It's definitely close. It looks like the soft tyres are working quite well for both Harry Noag and Nolan to make up a few positions in this race. Harry Noag is very close to the back of Miami. He has DRS, so he's looking for a move past Miami on this next straight. Let's see how he does it. Sets up the corner very nicely, uses his ERS, and I assume he'll fly past him Alfa Romeo.
Well, I don't actually know what the straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo is on realistic performance, but it looks like whatever it is, Miami's running very low wings because he was actually pulling away almost from Harry Noag. There is Melty and passes J. Hings around the outside into turn 12. Red Bull and Ferrari battling over 15th and 16th places. Look at this. We've got a three-way fight for last place between Coxey, Brent and Timon here into 13. And Brent's trying to go the long way around the outside of Coxey. He'll switch to the inside for turn 15. Coxey on the hard tyres is going to have to be a little cautious, I think, in where he picks his battles here. And they almost bang wheels through 16 and 17. Harry Noag and Miami. Let's switch back to them because they're side by side through turns 20. And in fact, Carmender's going to sneak through here on Miami and have a run perhaps themselves towards Harry Noag on this lap. So the battling is very much happening at the back of the field as Timon goes all the way off the track at turn 20, trying to get some purchase in his pursuit of Coxey. And we've still got that J. Hings Melty battle as well, but I think the interesting one right now is we've got a bit of a Felipe train, perhaps those soft tyres are starting to go off, and we've got a Harry Noag train as well. In fact, Nolan is really struggling out there.
Yeah, it looks like his tyres might be overheating quite a bit because he was very slow on the exit of that corner. And Rocco's really on the back of his teammate here. And he's definitely looking for the move past. And yeah, look at Nolan. He's really struggling on the exits. And Rocco uses ERS and DRS to slide past Nolan on the back straight.
And I think Pease is going to make it double trouble for Nolan here. Nolan jerks left a bit like Lance Stroll there, but he made it nice and early instead. Pease sneaks through nonetheless, and he'll have the traction to see that one off into turn 13. And Larkin on his hard tyres now will be looking to swiftly follow through. And Nolan's gone back for it up the inside of Pease. There's going to be contact there as Rocco has a big moment up ahead as well. Nearly absolute carnage there, and Larkin's watching this thinking, please could you crash into each other, although he probably will not want a safety car because he's on the hard tyres right now. He doesn't want to give these guys a free pit stop, particularly Nolan, who is on the softs and will be banking on one. And let's have a look. We're going to have a second go towards turn 1 here, and I think Pease is going to get the move done on Rocco. He passed one AlphaTauri into turn 12. He's going to get the second one into turn 1 as Pease is going to slip through there if we get a good camera angle, and he does indeed, and there's contact between the 12 AlphaTauris behind. Nolan slips through and then immediately slows off as if to say his apologies to Rocco, and Larkin will gobble those apologies up because he's nabbed P8 as the League of Europe head organiser.
Yeah, now it's a very eventful lap for Felipe there as he loses 3 positions in almost 1 lap. And his tries are definitely screaming to be changed at this moment in time, as Harry Noag has caught up 2.5 seconds during that entire lap to the back of Nolan, and Nolan is derating in fact, so he might be vulnerable to the Ferrari man behind. However, those soft tyres do not seem good at all, and the hards are seem like they're coming into play a lot better, as we saw RJ make a move on Miami last lap, and he's now already 2 seconds clear of him.
Yeah, you do tend to get quite a lot of field spread in Endure, but it is big. But we were still seeing a lot of good battles, is what I meant to say. California slipping through Miami there. Campbell continuing his fight back past his J Hings into 12. Nice move from the Scot, although fairly academic in the end there. What was a Nolan train, and it was 4 cars, has now become a 6-car Peeves train. As you say, Harry Noir and Carl Mendes very much joining the party. Nolan, though, he's staying with it, so maybe now he's no longer running to front of the train. Maybe that's helping the tyres a little bit. Extends turn 19, though, as I say that, so I think they are crying enough, and there will be some understeer, a lot of understeer, creeping into the handling of that AlphaTauri. Let's have a look at Harry Noir now. He's got tremendous slipstream. He's going to be forced around the long way around turn 1, as Timon's dropped it at turn 18, but we're going to stick with Nolan and Harry Noir, and just shows Harry Noir the door there on the exit of turn 1. Harry Noir will have to wait, but with Nolan derating, Dylan, I think it's going to be a matter of time before Nolan's cut adrift from that group ahead, and he'll be left very, very vulnerable to Harry Noir. Also on the soft tyres, worth noting though, and to Carl Mentelis, who's probably the most eager out of these three, the most in need of an overtake.
Yeah, and Carl Mentelis gets a very good essay out of that corner, out of the exit of the final corner of the second sector, and he goes down the inside of Harry Noir, leaves him the space on the exit, and that allows Harry Noir to slip back through, and it compromises Carl Mentelis' exit going onto the back straight. He uses the ERS and the ERS to try and gain up to Harry Noir, and he is going down the inside of the Greek and makes the move down the inside. Very nicely done. However, Harry Noir slips back through, or with the switchback, has the chance to go around the outside, has the grip so far on these soft tires. They must be screaming though. Carl Mentelis tries to go past Harry Noir, but Harry Noir just edges out in that battle. Very nicely done, very respectful from both of them.
Very respectful racing. Carl Mentelis will be seething in there, I have absolutely no doubt. In that Campbell past Miami, and you can't really blame Carl Mentelis, the two ahead on the soft tyres, knows they need to get the moves done really to stick with the Larkin Rocco, and like, it's now Coxey's turn to drop it, this time on the exit of turn 15. Yeah, needs to get rid of Harry Noir sharpish. But what I find interesting about that is actually the fact that the Williams was quicker. Obviously, they both had DRS, so there was no advantage in that regard. Williams was quicker in the straight line than the Ferrari. I remember at the start of the season, at least, that Williams was an extremely draggy car in a straight line, and it had one of the worst power units in the Mercedes, which we wouldn't have been saying 4 or 5 years ago. But up front, Dylan, 1.1 seconds now between Nathan and Marty. Marty's starting to find a groove and is coming back at Nathan, and has much more ERS to use as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to know, that Marty has 70 or 65% ERS at this moment in time, and Nathan is 25%. So that's very close, or very massive difference between those two in terms of ERS. So I imagine if Marty uses just a little bit more of his...
Harry Noir and Nolan into 12. Nolan covers the inside line again, just shoves Harry Noir towards the outside of the track. Harry Noir's going to stick his nose, my pet hate, into 13. He ended up cutting the corner and picks up a 3-second penalty for his troubles. Tries to switch back into 15, makes a complete balls up of it, but Nolan is a little out of shape, a little compromised. It's now Harry Noir's turn to derate through here. You can see just from on board Carl Mentelis how much more confidence and grip that Williams has. They're so slow through turn 19. Harry Noir's pulling out, trying to spot his braking point from Nolan. Carl Mentelis will be so frustrated. These guys were all on a train. Nolan's now 2.4 seconds off the back of Larkin, and Harry Noir's going to have another go here. They're both derating. They're both red lights blinking away. Again, Nolan takes the inside. Harry Noir to the outside. Is Nolan going to shove him up the outside of turn 1 again? No, and this time Harry Noir's going to cut and go around the outside of turn 2 rather than the inside, but still can't get anything done, and Carl Mentelis still will be foaming away under that Williams car.
Yeah, this is definitely the most interesting battle so far during this race. As one major thing to note, Marty was inside the DRS was inside the 1 second range and has DRS on Nathan now, so he's closed back up that gap at the start of the race, and now he's back in for the contention of the win, as Timon picks up his first time penalty of the race down in 19th. Harry Noir has a good exit on Nolan with DRS. He looks to go past him. He has a very draggy car. He doesn't gain a lot, even though he's using all of his battery.
Look at the overspeed Car Mentalist has got. Got both of them before the braking zone. Still makes the apex. And, well, I suppose that was worth waiting extra lap for. Noel's going to go up the inside of Harry Noir here. There's still going to be wheel to wheel towards 14 and 15, and that's a cheeky cut back up the inside from Nolan. Nearly smashes into Car Mentalist in the process. Does get clipped by Harry Noir. This was very clean racing. It's just taken a little turn for the worse, and look at Harry Noir out on the dirty part of the track there on the exit of 18 as they come towards 19. Neither of them have got any pace whatsoever. RJ is gaining so much on these hard tyres. Gap 7 tenths coming through the last corner. What's it going to be as they come out of it? RJ gained a tenth there in just one corner in turn 20, which isn't really a corner where you gain all much time. Also, Marty, 8 tenths now. It's all starting to happen on track as Campbell picks off a 4th car since the spin, and I think Melty will follow quite quickly, as I just saw Melty had a very sluggish turn 1 there.
Yeah, definitely this battle has been very interesting so far, and I imagine the train will be spread as I imagine Car Mentalists with those medium tyres will get both Harry Noir out of range. As I say that, he has a massive snap on the exit of turn 10, and now that allows Harry Noir to have another look. That is not what Car Mentalists wanted at all, because now this means the Ferrari is back in play. Although we have seen that Harry Noir has a very draggy car in the straight line, and Car Mentalists is very slippy. You see him gaining a lot on the exit there, going onto the straight, and he's barely gaining at all with DRS on the back of the Williams car. And Car Mentalists will keep the position for now.
Yeah, 301 kph there for Car Mentalist, 311 for Harry Noir. Not a big DRS advantage whatsoever. Somewhere in there, I think Farrell has made a mistake, because Wouter nipped through into turn 11, and then Farrell did not have DRS to fight back, but will be in a position to retake P2, I think, either towards turn 1 now or turn 12, because just from looking at the times, it looks like Farrell has a quicker car in a straight line. He's certainly got more ERS at the moment. Anyway, Marty briefly dipping within half a second of Nathan for the race lead, and Car Mentalist now 5 seconds behind Larkin. So have a look at the fastest lap times actually. 40.1 for Car Mentalist, 40.1 for Larkin. I'm intrigued what their current pace is though, given how much they're losing. Harry Noir's done a 39.6, only 3 tenths off, but obviously those soft tyres will be absolutely knackered right now. Gap to leader, this battle is now 16.5 seconds off the lead. We're only on lap 10 and they're 16.5 seconds off. Let's have a look at Marty though, 6 tenths behind Nathan. What's the speed like as they come towards 12? I think, let's see if we get a measure. Nathan's capping out at 2.96. It's 3.10 for Marty. So again, not a huge advantage. That's Brent has died at turn 9. Well, say died, he's still going. As Wouter has successfully fended off Farrell on that lap, and Car Mentalist isn't pulling away from Harry Noir at all, are they? They're both pulling away from Felipe a little bit, but Car Mentalist not able to break the Ferrari.
Yeah, it looks like the first sector where Harry Noir uses the Ferrari car perfectly to gain in the downforce sections of the track in order to stick in DRS with Car Mentalist. So he's done that very well so far, and he's being total on, so to speak, with Car Mentalist, and is doing quite well so far as he's dropped Felipe behind almost. I think Felipe is out of DRS. It's very close between them two, and if Felipe gets DRS or not. And RJ is extremely close to the back of Felipe on those hard tires. He's looking extremely well, and he's eyeing up a move down the inside of turn 1. Felipe defends the inside. RJ goes around the outside. Felipe brakes late, takes the apex of the corner, and RJ has to concede for now to Felipe, unfortunately for him, as Melty is very close behind as well, and Campbell. This is a very close battle, and this is all because of the soft tires of Felipe falling off a little bit, and now as they almost enter the second sector, it's going to be an interesting...
Our medium TC runner has retired from the race, and we've got a virtual safety car. Sorry to come across you there. But absolutely spot on as you were in saying that. I think Nolan is a little bit. I can vividly hear that man saying that move into turn one where he lurched left. I can vividly hear him say, "I'm Lance Stroll, baby." Like I can vividly hear that man just scream down the pipe, going, "I'm Lance Stroll, baby." But RJ looked very set for a move. The softs are dead. I mean, you can see the visual degradation on them. So they're clearly around 50-60% probably, I would assume, at this point. They're not going to be feeling particularly nice, but it's a full safety car now. I missed that. We are on a full safety car. You can see it parked at turn 3. Let's have a look at tyres. So who's a little bit messed up here? Larkin probably. We've got a split in our medium runners. Nathan has stayed out. Marty has stayed out. Wouter, Farrell, Luke, Pease and Rocco are in. Larkin has stayed out. Carmentis is in. So actually, I say split. It's just our top 2. Nathan and Marty stayed out, as has Larkin. Wouter's gone on to softs. Farrell and Luke onto their second set of mediums. They only get 2 to use. Pease onto softs. Rocco's gone to hards. Melty has stayed out and is now going to split that group of pitters between Farrell and Luke. Carmentlist is on softs. Harry Nawag medium. Nolan, RJ and Campbell and Jahings have all gone medium. Brent has gone, we'll see in a sec what's waiting for him at the McLaren pit. I think that is a set of hards. Miami stays out. Coxey stays out and will gain a couple of places, brings him back into contention. So Miami had already made a pit stop. We've got 5 more who have stayed out. Nathan and Marty, the odd ducklings there. Larkin on hard, so it made sense him to stay out, and the same goes for Cox, he also started on hards. But for those who pitted, majority mediums, but a split, 3 softs and a couple of hards as well. What would you have done in that situation, Dylan? You've done a few endure races.
This is an interesting split because I actually don't know the strategy for this race with the 100% length of the race, of course. So I think it's a very interesting call for people to go on softs, which I imagine indicates that this will be a 2-stop race at least for them. So they will have, I think the soft, medium, soft, or medium, soft, medium, soft, medium, sorry, might be the strategy here for some of these cars. I'm interested to see what Larkin his strategy is. I think he might just go hard medium, go along on these hard tires, and then pit onto the medium tires at the end of the race and try and slip past a few people. But yeah, this mix of strategy is definitely nice to see, as we have all 3 tire compounds in use. So yeah, I imagine this is going to be an interesting restart, as well as both the cars, or all 3 cars in front, are on all tires, and we have Wouter behind them on soft tires, and we will have to use them quickly to get past, as we've seen with both Felipe and Harry Noirk, that those soft tires can fall off rather quickly.
We'll have safety car in end of next lap. We say Wouter, I think, will get past Larkin fairly quickly. I'm thinking turn 11 will probably be the opportune moment. But Marty and Nathan probably be a trickier pair to get rid of. I think if I was Nathan, I'd want to go nice and early, give himself as much chance as possible to build a buffer to Larkin through the last couple of corners. You start sector 3 very early here, so safety car in this lap message will be displayed fairly early, which means Nathan can back off also, again, super early, and gives him the chance to launch it perhaps out turn 16 or 17 rather than waiting until the last corner. That's what I would do personally, but then I'm not in Division 1 and Nathan is. Where would you go?
Definitely. I mean, this is definitely an interesting situation. If I were Nathan, I would actually like to keep Larkin in that DRS range, just so he can either hold up the new medium runners or new tire runners behind them, rather than let Larkin be adrift, lose DRS, and then have no defense whatsoever against the cars behind. If I were Nathan, I would try and keep Larkin in, just for the sake of defending for the cars behind.
Interesting point. Pease and Carmen are interesting ones to watch for as well. They'll see all 3 ahead of them have a penalty, so maybe more motivated than they otherwise would be to get past Rocco on the hard tyres, because his hard tyres won't feel particularly great either. This is a track where we know from LOE and other league races that the hard tyre and the medium tyre have a larger split than they do at most tracks, I'd say, here. I remember in the Saturday races, the hard tyre just did not want to get going at any point in that race, particularly when people were starting on it. But we shall see how Larkin and Rocco fend off those assaults. Nathan is going very slowly, around 70 kph, as Jay Hings and Coxey have swapped places on the safety car. Coxey's been overtaken, he's spun, something's happened there. Nathan's making his car as wide as possible with his sweeping. We'll ignore whatever's going on at the back, but yeah, he's wanting to go. I've got no idea when he's wanting to go. Actually, we'll see when he drops the throttle. He's gone now at the exit of turn 19, and he has caught Marty not sleeping, but a little bit droopy there. And let's go on board with Wouter towards turn 1. All the ERS in use on the back of Larkin. In fact, Larkin's going to have a go at Marty here around the outside of turn 1. Perhaps those hard tyres will be feeling a little bit better than the old mediums there. Wouter's going to have to settle for P4 for now. Farrell fends off Melty, or sorry, he gets past Melty into 1, and now Melty's going to be having to watch his mirrors for Luke. I don't think it'd be wise to challenge Farrell in that position, but Farrell gets a bit out of shape through turn 6. No one brings up a penalty. Is Melty going to send that into turn 7? That's a 1-gear braking zone. You're going to have to be brave to send it there, but he's got to be careful because he's got Luke, Rocco, Pease, Carmentalist, a host of drivers behind looking for a move, but Melty's going to send it here into turn 11 as Wouter does ahead on Larkin. I think both get the move done there. Wouter through, Melty through. Farrell's demoted, but Farrell's going to tuck right back into the slipstream, and Luke will be watching this one as well. Where's Melty going to go? Is he going to commit to the left of the track, or is he going to go for the outside? It looks like, I don't know where he's doing. He's going to park it in the middle instead, and Farrell is going to send it. Yes, he is going to send it up the inside of 12. Melty's going to cut back. Farrell's a little out of shape, and towards turn 13, Melty's going to take the high line, and Luke cuts in there, and that was ill-advised from Luke. He tags the back of the Red Bull, and that just opens the door for Pease to come through on those soft tyres into 15. And Pease could be getting the Red Bull of Melty out, not on this occasion, but Pease, crucial move on Luke there, who'd also had fresh tyres, and Pease is released onto the back of the 13-lap shod Red Bull of Melty, who nearly died there at turn 19 and picked up a penalty for his troubles.
Yeah, that's a very good restart for Pease on those soft tyres, and for Wouter, of course, who overtook Larkin and is now in the podium position. And Pease uses ERS nicely and slipstream to go down the inside of Melty, makes a very clean move on the inside of turn 1, very nicely done. Uses those soft tyres as opposed to those old medium tyres for Melty. And Pease is up into P6, had a great restart from 9th, is now up to 6th, so he's done very well. Some could say he's very lucky in every game he plays. Yeah, that's for some other people to judge, as Nathan has had an incredible restart and he's 1.8 seconds clear. He's done an amazing job so far, as Larkin has, I think, dropped out of the 1 second range, which is going to hurt him, as Farrell behind him and Pease both have fresh tyres. Yeah,
Larkin's going to need another safety car, but when's a safety car going to help him? Because if a safety car comes now, everyone who's already pitted was not going to need to pit again, and if a safety car came later, as Wouter passes Martin to turn 12, and Pease is going to do the same on Farrell here. Is he going to complete that move? Farrell's got the inside line still, but he's not got the tyres, I think, on the medium to just quite hang on. Pease is through into P5. Yeah, if Larkin pits now, if there was a safety car now, he'd lose track position because everyone who's already pit would stay out. And if a safety car comes in like 10 laps time, well, by which point everyone who pitted at the last safety car will pit again, so you can't really win if you stay out under a safety car and endure, it feels like, because the pit stops are so frequent. There's an interesting bit of symmetry to note, I want to say, as Brent's spun on the last lap, which makes me happy to point out, is both Red Bulls on brand new soft attempted an overtake, both Aston Martins on brand new soft attempted an overtake on both Red Bulls on old medium into turn 1, which made me very happy. But it only came off for Pease, didn't come off for Wouter, did come off for him later in the lap, and one Red Bull has just lost another place. That's Melty down to 8th because Luke is through on his medium tyres, and there was an overtake just there. I think that was Harry Noir, who had been passed by Nolan, into one. Nolan, of course, running with a penalty, and behind this, look at Campbell really closing up, even through this twisty section, which should favour the Ferrari, but Campbell, like a duck to water in twisty corners with his wheel, with his pay-to-win device, making the most of the advantage he has there.
Well, he's definitely making use of his pay-to-win device. I can definitely tell that. Look at the perfectly steering input he's done there out of that corner. And he has his ERS on. And he's in the slipstream and looking for a way past Harry Noir. However, he's not getting enough. He's closing in. Harry Noir defends the inside. Campbell will try and go around the outside, and Harry Noir moves on the braking, looks like, and hits Campbell on the outside when Campbell has to concede and sits back a little bit longer to try and find a way past that Ferrari.
Oh, Carmental is sending it on Rocco into turn 15. Rocco and Melty looked like that was where the battle was going to be, and then Carmental just saw a sniff of a chance, and Rocco's turned Melty round in the middle of turn 17. Carmental nabs a place off both of them and gets a little out of shape into 19. Is this going to get sent back by Rocco? No, it's not, but that was very opportunistic from Carmental in the first instance, dumb from Rocco in the second, and Harry Noir and Campbell are at it again towards turn 1. Pease is now past Melty as well. It's Aston Martin 2-3. Is Campbell going to send? He is going to have a send on Harry Noir into turn 1. Just about gets moved on, and he's used all of his ERS in the process. Harry Noir has to surrender that one. He's down to P12. Melty is into the pit lane. Might have rear wing damage, or possibly just going for a new set of tyres. He's gone on to some fresh hards. Jay Hings picks up a 3-second penalty, and Rocco looking to come back at Carmental now after that mistake from the AlphaTauri. The two AlphaTauris are being swarmed by the two Williams right now, either side of them. Up ahead, have we got any chance for move? Marty, he was so good before safety car, catching Nathan. Now his pace is nowhere. I'll tell you what, Nathan is keeping the Astons at arm's length well enough, as Harry Noir is back through on Campbell.
Yeah, he definitely has used his ERS past, as Campbell was literally on 0 ERS on that entire straight. So Harry Noir using ERS well, managing it better than Campbell has so far this race. And yeah, we missed an overtake from Pease onto Marty last lap. But both Aston Martins now are 2 and 3. They're doing an amazing job, and they can try and catch up to the back of the Haasman QVR Nathan, who's leading the race since lap 1.
Leading the race, but pulling away. Gap was 1.7, it's now 1.8. And when you're at Division 1, that is a significant shift in the gap. I'd say 1/10, because they're so consistent with their pace. But, another penalty for Jay Hings. Yeah, 1.9 now, although Nathan, scrappy turn 1, no, it was a scrappy turn 1 for Wouter. So I wonder if Pease is going to come through now. He's quicker, but they're both on. Actually, Nathan's got some ERS to use here. He's on 35%, 8% for each of the Aston Martins. Neither of them have managed to break away from Marty. Larkin is still holding his own in there tremendously well as well, even on tyres he started the race on. 2.2 now as Pease picks up a penalty. Aston Martin did very well to get clear of the pack, but now they're there, they're losing some time, and someone's spun round, and it's Ariel Felipe at turn 9. Has he picked up damage from that? Doesn't look like it visibly so, but we'll see. He's gone down to 16th place. Didn't have a happy race here in League of Europe on Saturday in Division 2. He's not having a happy race in League of Europe on Wednesday in Endure. As Campbell's again having a look at Harry Noir, but with no ERS to use, it's going to be very tricky to make an overtake. Farrell and Marty, has gone round now at the exit of turn 12, running very well on tyres he'd started the race on. And this spun again, and I wonder if Melty's got those tyres scorched and isn't able to get the traction down and put any power through those tyres. Nathan's lead, Dylan, 2.3 now, and Wouter is looking very vulnerable to Pease behind him.
Yeah, I think these soft tyres have seen the best of their lifespan so far, as Nathan just keeps pulling out the gap to those Aston Martins behind, and is doing an amazing job so far, as Wouter is defending the inside against Pease. Pease tries to go around the outside. Wouter on the inside. Pease gets shown the curb and has to back out for that for the time being behind the back of his teammate Wouter, and has to collect himself and try again on the next back straight.
I wonder if this is going to bring Larkin into play. Was out of DRS, but that mistake has brought him in. Marty's now had another spin at turn 1. He's down in P17. So Pease, you've got to think, is going to go for it again this time. And this should be more straightforward than the one into turn 1. And Larkin is still hanging on with DRS, so that'll be very good for him defending from Farrell. And you've got to say, the safety car now, Farrell is in the best position in this race. As P is going to go to the inside, and he's going to have a very tight line through 12. Does well to get the car stopped and turned in, and in fact sees Wouter off, as well as Wouter turns into the side pod of Pease there into turn 13. Is Wouter going to have a look into 15? He is, and again, such a tight line. Wouter did well to make the corner, has to force his teammate onto the curb. Larkin's looking to try and come around the outside of turn 16 and 17 here. It's certainly brought him back into play. Nathan's lead because of all that, now up to 4 seconds. And is Pease going to have another go towards turn 1? The Aston Martins are doing themselves no favours here. I can guarantee they'll be giggling away in the LOE party bus, but for us, we'll pretend they hate each other, and it's cracking entertainment. Larkin and Farrell into play.
Luke has a look down the inside of Farrell, and he's just breaks it a little bit later. Farrell just gives him a lot of space. These two are still side by side going through turn 2, but Luke edges through on Farrell and makes the move done. Very nicely done between those two. Luke, opportunistic, sees the opportunity to go past Farrell and takes it, and now is behind Larkin, who's on older hard tires, remember, so he has the grip on, the better grip, better tires than Larkin, so he has a chance to make the move. And they're on similar ERS as Felipe gets another time penalty. I think it's his 3rd time penalty of the race so far. But we're looking again at the Aston Martins as they're dueling again on the back straight, and let's see how if Pease can able to get past Wouter on this occasion.
Well, we'd think it's quite simple, but it seemed quite simple last lap. Again, Wouter's covering the inside. Pease is going to go even more inside, and I think he's further ahead this time by the apex of the corner. Wouter's got the inside line. He'll be able to carry more speed around there. Pease just shuts off the apex splendidly, though. And is Larkin going to have a look at something here? No, he's going to bide his time. But both of them understeering like crazy through 13. Larkin getting a little leery on the traction, getting a bit excitable, seeing the place up for grabs. But you can see the advantage the hard tyres now have, even though they're hard tyres that started the race. And what I was going to say is, if there is a safety car now, given how well Nathan's mediums are going along, you've got to think that Luke and Farrell are in the best position. Everyone else would probably make a stop at this point if we see an SC. But Luke and Farrell will be able to go on, as will Harry Noir and Campbell. A safety car would bring Campbell certainly back into play. And from P's down, everyone's in DRS down to P11. That's the train we've got right now. Those soft tyres and the squabbling between them is so slow. Nathan's lead 4.4 seconds. It far exceeds what it ever was when he had Marty behind him. I think the Aston Martins need to knuckle down a bit, Dylan, and work together.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, P's down. The man from P's down is now under pressure heavily from the Ferrari behind. Rocco on those hard tyres is not making the work as well as Larkin is, and he's under pressure from Harry Noir. However, Harry Noir has made a couple of mistakes through those 2 corners, and now the gap has increased. Rocco, though, is derating, so he might be vulnerable depending on how aggressive Harry Noir feels on those medium tyres behind.
Let's have a look for Aston Martin Civil War Part 3, because Wouter is going to attack Pease towards turn 12. Gains very late, and but he's not close enough for a send into turn 12 this time. But you can see behind them the way they constantly are up through the apex of the corners. They all sort of bump together like they're all tethered by a piece of string down to RJ in P11, and J Hings has now joined the party in P12. Everyone who hasn't spun is in that train, and Harry Noir and Rocco dicing away on the exit of 15, and Harry Noir is through. He's held off. He's seen the inside line. Rocco's going to try to cut back underneath for the outside of turn 19, force Harry Noir to take a tight line there. He'll have the inside line for 20, ends up, can't cut underneath the Ferrari, spins him round instead, as he did to Melty earlier on in this race. Rocco claims another victim, and that was poor form from Rocco. There was plenty of space there, I think, for him to just be a little more cautious with the throttle and cut properly underneath the Ferrari on the exit of 19, but just turned under the Ferrari a bit too soon. Yeah,
very unfortunate for Harry Noir there, who made a brilliant move down the inside of Rocco. made a nice dive move. Rocco tried to make the switch back, couldn't make it work though, and unfortunately has punted Harry Noir off. It's gone south for him, and Harry Noir, I imagine, thinks he's probably thinking Rocco is Turkish right now, and that's probably
Ball send from Farrell into turn 11 on the back of Luke, and that's a bit of bumpy, and they're going to be side by side down the straight. Who's got the lower wings is the question here, and I think Farrell's winning out with a little bit of ERS to use, a little excess of ERS. Luke turns it on now, and they're still wheel to wheel and absolutely level into the braking zone. Turn 12, Farrell's got the inside line. Luke's going to be forced on the outside line, and Farrell nabs through into P5. Good battling and respect shown from both. Is Luke going to try the turn 15 classic send? He is indeed. There he goes, nice and deep up there, but not deep enough. Farrell's got plenty of track on the outside to use and reclaims P5, and they've got to be careful here they don't cut themselves off from Larkin ahead of them. A gap 7/10 there. I think they've just about survived, but Larkin very close to the back of Wouter now. He looks like the quickest out of this group, who are still falling back from Nathan, although not quite as much as they were.
Yeah, I think they've gained roughly 2 or 3 tenths on Nathan. The second piece has been leading the race, so that's been good for the Aston Martin so far, and it's been extremely good for Larkin, who's of course on the hard tyres, expected to go long, I think to at least lap 35, 34, try and put the mediums on and then catch back up to Nathan. But we could expect some pit stops soon from both QVR Nathan and Larkin.
I think we could, but the issue is that safety cars play such a factor in Endure, more so I think than in normal Lee racing, because we'll get some races where drivers will pretty much exclusively stop under safety cars, because Felipe retires during the session. I remember Australia, we had 5 safety cars in the first half of the race. They very much dictate the stops, so do you want to pit if you're Larkin or Nathan, unless you absolutely have to, and risk a safety car coming out 2 laps later and everyone else coming in. So we're now getting in towards the territory where if a safety car comes, those medium runners, the ones who pitted onto the mediums at the first safety car, may be thinking about a pit stop again themselves rather than staying out. They're on their 12th lap on those tyres. I'd still say it's a bit early to pit if a safety car comes, because we've seen how well Nathan's made them last. But you've got to be careful that if you are Larkin or Nathan and pit, you don't want to get sort of caught adrift by a safety car, as I said, 2 laps later.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, I think, as well, because track position is so key in these realistic cars, as you mentioned before. But yeah, this train is very much intact still. All different tires are in play, of course, and I'm intrigued to see what Larkin does this race, because on those old hard tires he's looking very quick compared to the Aston Martins in front, and definitely has some good pace, and I imagine he'll be a lot quicker as well if he puts on those mediums or soft tyres at the end of the race.
Well, he's playing the long game, certainly. You've got to think, though, at this point, no one's tyres, I can imagine, are probably feeling particularly nice. Although, again, all I've got to go off is how long Nathan's taken him, and based on how long Nathan's taken him, you'd think that the mediums of Luke and Farrell have still got to be in a pretty good nick. What are our gaps? Wout is now only 4 tenths behind Pease. Pease has a shoddy first sector. We could get Aston Martin civil war once again in turn 12. Pease felt the need to go immediately defensive coming down the straight. They're going to pass the stricken Tower of Nolan. You can see there on the right side of your screen. Fortunately ghosted, and Wouter is gaining a lot towards the end of the straight. Is he going to have a late send? No, he's not, but he forces Pease to go a little bit jitterish, a little bit defensive. Does the lead Aston Martin, but can't force a move. And I think that's the opportunity gone for Wouter for the time being. He's instead going to have to turn his attention, I think, to Larkin behind. Although I say that, I'd noticed, Dylan, when I'm in these kinds of trains, I never ever pay attention to the guy behind. Doesn't bother me. I don't think about him. Even if he's 2 tenths behind me, I don't notice. So long as the car ahead of me is 2 tenths ahead, I'm always fixated on the car in front of me rather than the car behind me. So long as I'm in a train, is Wouter pits there, but I don't know if you're the same, where you're able, if you've got a car in front of you, you're able to block out the one behind.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're more focused on the car in front, obviously, as it's your responsibility to not hit that car most of the time if you're behind them. So you're definitely focused more on the car ahead and see where they make mistakes and see where they look vulnerable, as Wout, of course, pits, and he pits onto the hard tires. That's an interesting choice, as those hard tires have looked amazing so far this race on the back of both Larkin and Rocco. So interesting strategy call there. I thought maybe he would go for the mediums again and do a soft medium or a medium soft medium strategy. However, he has opted to go for the hard tires, and that might be a good strategy for him, as Campbell has picked up his first penalty of the race on the back of Rocco, now looking for a move past him on the back straight.
24.2 seconds Wouter was off the lead when he came out of the pits. That's already gone up to 25.0. Nathan's lead was briefly 5.9 seconds. I think he made a mistake somewhere around turns 9, 10, 11, because that gap's come down to 5.4, but it was as high as 6 seconds earlier on this lap. But I think Nathan's perhaps tyres are at their limit, although then again the sheen on them doesn't look like it's in that 70% phase quite yet. It's bad, but it doesn't... Or is it? I can't tell.
I think Pease is going to pit this lap. Last lap he was on 25% ERS before Wouter pitted. This lap he's on 11, so that indicates that he's been using all his ERS to try and gain as much as a gap on Wouter as possible. I think he's going to pit this at the end of this lap to cover off his teammate. However, he decides to stay out. Okay, that's not what I expected him to do.
But Commentated does come in, so 13 laps, a quarter race distance, or just under a quarter race distance. Quarter race distance will be 14 laps. The absolute limit for the soft tyres, it seems to be. Not inclined to wait around for a safety car, even though those Aston Martins had the track position over the rest of the field, bar Nathan. Larkin, let's see what he can do now, though, because for the first time, against those Aston Martins, the car ahead of him doesn't have DRS. He now has a natural advantage over Pease that he didn't have when he was behind Wouter, who would have himself had DRS. So Larkin's in a position here to gain P2, and it looks like he's used a little bit of ERS out of turn 9. He's already, you can see that red light blinking. He's putting some on now. I think he's going to make the move into turn 12.
Yeah, definitely uses that rocket ship of an Alpine car and drives easily past the Aston Martin of Pease and makes the move very nicely done so far, as Larkin has been driving incredible so far this race. Let's see if he can edge out that gap to Pease behind and maybe drop him out of the DRS, because he's already 5/10 clear of the Aston Martin, and this part of this track does make your tyres overheat a little bit on the soft tyres, so Pease is losing a little bit of time here to the Alpine car in front of him.
Just want to say, since Wouter's tyres come up to temperature, he's taken. Is that Nathan? Nathan is into the pits. Wouter had taken 1.5 seconds out of Nathan since his tyres come up to temperature. The gap was down to 23.4. Larkin will assume the lead of the race now. But yeah, so Nathan had to do that. He had a big, massive lead, but it will be down to about 4 seconds. Once he's out the pits, is Nathan, and Wouter catches him up on his cold tyres. So he had to cover that off, because 2 more laps he would have been very vulnerable to Wouter undercutting him, even though he had a massive lead. Such is the undercut advantage here, and how much Nathan's tyres had gone off. He's now on to fresh hard, a second set of hards, so he's gone for the harder tyre option, and he's out, and he is 4 seconds ahead of Wouter, pretty much exactly. So he has seen his lead eroded by over 1.5 seconds here. Pease, I don't know what Pease is doing. He's got no ERS, he's now lost DRS. Farrell's going to take P2 on a plate here, I think, towards turn 12. And Larkin will be grateful that Pease has stayed out as long as he has, because it's given him a chance. And is that Marty has spun at turn 7, but Farrell through into P2, and Larkin out of DRS up front.
Yeah, those two cars look extremely quick, and Pease's soft tyres are absolutely shot as Luke goes down the inside of turn 14 or 15, I'm not quite sure, but it's 15. A nice move from the McLaren, so he's gone past the Aston Martin. Pease 100% has to pit now, as he would lose so much time and so much track position to the cars behind. However, he decides again to stay out. I think he might be the one that actually goes for this medium soft medium strategy here in this race, try and edge out these soft tyres a little bit longer than he wants them to, and try and gain all that time back on the medium tyres further on the race, as Rocco goes down the inside of turn 1 onto the, passed the Aston Martin, sorry about that, and has now made the move very nicely, and is up into P4 on those hard tires, and he's been going extremely well on those hard tires, despite taking out Harry Noirk early in the race.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair to say at this point now, Rocco, of those who pitted on the safety car and haven't pitted again since, is on the best tyres in this race. P's going to lose another place here because Campbell has got such a run on him towards turn 11, but actually Campbell's going to hedge his bets and wait a little bit for turn 12. It didn't look like Campbell had a natural straight line advantage on the run towards 11. He's gaining a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. I think Campbell should have been a bit braver there and sent it into 11. Is he going to send it into 12? I don't think he can. No, he is going to send it very late on the brakes. Is he going to get chopped off by Pease? No, Pease has realised his place on those tyres. Didn't fight it. Campbell through, takes P5. After being spun round early on and being in last place, Campbell up into 5th and running a very nice race, has to be said. Perhaps wanting to take those tyres as long as Nathan did. 26 laps into this race. Nathan's clearly going for a one-stop, but that strategy is contingent on there being no further safety cars, although he's running in clean air regardless, so I think he's going to catch up. Only 11 seconds off the lead as Pease does now come in, and Farrell now very much in range of Larkin as we've crossed over half distance, Dylan.
Finally, finally halfway through the race, as there's been a long race so far, but I've seen some amazing battles, and there's a safety car,
we've got a full safety car.
What happened there? I think Melty crashed at the end of turn 10, and now we have a full safety car, and this is a good time for, I think, Larkin to pit onto the medium tyres and to go to the end of the race.
Yeah,
I imagine every car that hasn't pitted yet so far, I think, will go into the pits.
Yeah, I think
and select a tyre that will make it to the end.
I think Larkin or Pitt has to go mediums though. That is his problem. He has to make them last, but I'm sure he won't complain given the safety car. Everyone else will come in. I think Larkin will come out between Nathan and Walter. Nathan is 13 seconds off the lead, and Nathan knows he can go to the end. He knows his tyres are only 2 laps old anyway. So Larkin's not quite done enough, thanks to the 2 Aston Martins squabbling earlier on, to overcut Nathan with the safety car. Famous last words. But he will come out comfortably ahead of Walter, I think. Farrell and Luke are going to be very interesting in relation to the 2 Aston Martins. There's a big gap between the 2 Aston Martins, but they can come out ahead of Walter or behind Walter is the question. No one's going to have to stack in that. Oh no, they are. Jay Hings and Harry Noel. But do you think is Larkin going to come out ahead of Nathan, or do you agree with me that he's going to come out behind?
I think he's going to come out behind indeed, as he does opt to pit, which is a smart decision in my opinion, and he slows it right down. And I think RJ is the only car that will maybe have some issues with the pit stops, as Jay Hings hits the back of RJ in the pit lane, so that's a 5-second time penalty unfortunately for him. And yeah, RJ does have to double stack just a little bit, loses a second. I think he's going to lose the place to Jay Hings as well. Yeah, he does lose the place to Jay Hings, unfortunately for him, as Nathan does inherit the lead, and Larkin does come up behind Wouter, as you predicted.
And Wouter had to gas it with the ERS down the main straight. I wonder if Wouter went negative on the Delta just a little bit there. But the trouble is, Larkin's on brand new mediums, and brand new mediums do stack up very well to brand new hards. Although the hards come into their own fairly quickly, Larkin will have an advantage for the first couple of laps. And I think he'll struggle to get Nathan, but I think Wouters is certainly a possibility. That Aston Martin looks like a piece of poo.
Yeah, definitely. And Pease is the one who's lost out massively on track position to the cars in front of him. And I think Campbell has really benefited out of this situation, out of these 2 safety cars we've seen so far this race, going from last to 6th so far in this race. Does have a penalty to his name, unfortunately for him. However, he's definitely in the mix for the podium positions.
It's worth noting the penalties actually, because we haven't mentioned them. Luke 3 seconds, Campbell 3 seconds, Rocco 3 seconds, Pease 3 seconds, 20 seconds for Jay Hings, 5 of those for a collision with RJ coming into the pit lane that we didn't see. The other 15 I would presume are 5 at 3 seconds. 3 for Carmentis, 6 for Harry Noir, 3 for Miami, and 3 for Marty. RJ didn't get a penalty for that collision, so the game adjudicating that it was all Jay Hings' fault. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So everyone in theory, I think, is going to the end from this point or is capable of it. Nathan showed you can take the mediums 26 laps. Some will need to do it 29 laps. That's Coxey and Pease, I think 28 for everybody else. Sorry, 27 for everybody else, 28 for those two. Safety car will be in end of next lap. At this point in the race, we're just past half distance, we're now starting lap 31. Where is your money for the podium? As Car Mentalist has decided, want to get off these hards, come into the pits for fresh mediums. And Dylan, second point to add, that makes no sense to me. So first is, what's your top 3? Second, what is Car Mentalist thinking there?
So far, I think Nathan's been untouchable so far this race, so this is the first time he might be under threat of someone behind, and I think that someone behind is going to be Larkin in the Alpine. So I think those two will definitely be on the podium, and then it's a toss-up between Wouter and Farrell, Luke or Campbell. And my money is we're going to a little bit of nationalism during this period of the World Cup coming up soon as well, so we're going to go for Wouter at P3.
Wouter's Belgian, I don't know what you mean.
He's not Belgian, I swear he's Dutch.
No, he's Belgian. Always has been.
No chance. Nah, he lives in the most northern part of the Netherlands, I think. So he's either
Belgium.
He's more Danish than Belgian.
Belgium. He's on 6-lap old tyres, so bar Marty's on the oldest tyres in the race. Marty is back in the race. I don't know why Marty didn't pit last lap. Why didn't Marty pit last lap? Wasn't going to go a lap down because he caught up the safety car. Could have pitted, gone on to hards, and caught back up, or gone to another set of mediums, caught back up. The car in this lap, that makes no sense to me, once again.
Yeah, I don't understand that as well. I don't know if he had any fresh mediums or hards left, as he spun multiple times during this race. So I don't know if he doesn't have fresh tires left to go to the end of the race. But it does seem like an strategy calls.
He's only made 1 stop. Cameron's made 3. 1 for Nathan, 1 for Larkin, 1 for Coxey, 1 for Marty, 2 for everyone else. So he's got the tyres, he's just elected not to use them. Let's see where Nathan's going to go. He went on the exit of turn 19 last time. Safety car is in the pit lane, so it's his prerogative when he goes from this point. He's not going as early as he did before. Perhaps he'll go in the braking zone of turn 20. Or maybe he'll just wait for the line. That'll be interesting. He's keeping a very slow pace. We're in the braking zone of turn 20 now as we pass pit entry. Nathan's still biding his time, not wanting to go just yet. And he's taken a wide line through the last corner, carried lots of speed, and he's launched off the last corner there. Brent's already made a move on Harry Noir. And look at that, we've got Farrell and Luke side by side towards turn 1. Campbell's weaving away behind them. Luke backs out of the move. And then Farrell goes a little deep, and Luke says, well, if you're going to insist, I'll come through, and takes P4. Campbell, I saw his name flickering along there. I don't know if he passed Rocco or something. We've got Coxey and Miami side by side through turn 3. That's an interesting place to go wheel to wheel. And Farrell has retired from the session. He's crashed there at turn 8. And I don't know what happened there, Dylan. Did you see what happened there?
I did not catch what happened there, unfortunately. But yeah, Farrell is out of
Rocco goes for a move, sorry, on Campbell into turn 11. That was a squeeze, but Rocco has made it through. Sorry, Dylan, what you were saying?
Yeah, no, that's a very aggressive move from Rocco. But with that move, though, he is out of the 1 second range, and he wants to be in that 1 second range in a lap or two from now. So he has to catch back up to the back of Luke, who is on the back of Larkin, my bad. And he's looking rather quick as Nathan has stretched out the gap to Wouter to 1.5 seconds and is under very heavy pressure from Larkin behind.
Yeah, Larkin looked very vulnerable to Luke down the straight, and then Larkin turned that defence into attack because he's now a quarter of a second behind Wouter. They're doing well, the Aston Martin drivers, but also I think the soft tyres were perhaps elevating their pace a little more than it should have been, and he's picked up a time penalty. Larkin's now going to pick up second place, taking candy from a baby there. He's through on Wouter into P2, got a yellow flag. That is Marty has spun in the exit of the last corner. Only picked up some real wing damage. We've seen him spin a lot since that first mistake earlier on, or if he'd got hit by something. That's what caused his original contact when we saw the spin at turn 12. But Larkin's through, 1.8 seconds off Nathan. Can he kick on and catch his compatriot ahead of him? That's going to be an interesting one to watch. 1.7. It's going to ebb back and forth, I think, a little bit to start with. But Larkin's got to make those medium tyres, and he's using some ERS to do so. He's about the same as Nathan right now.
Rocco's looking for a move down the inside of Luke, down into turn 11, makes the move past Luke on those medium tyres, and very nicely done from Rocco. One of the cleaner moves he's done this race, so he's done that very well. And he's now looking up the back of Wouter.
P's making a move on Campbell into turn 12, and I think Campbell perhaps wasn't necessarily expecting that from P's, the Londoner, but P's is through, and he's taken P6, so one Aston loses his place this lap, the other gains. And you say Rocco, he needed a clean move under his belt for this race, for the sake of probably his reputation in league racing was turning into a bit of a Rudy, it has to be said today. Harry Noir is close to the back of RJ, in fact they're all close to the back of each other. What am I chatting? Rocco is now looking to dispatch Wouter sharpish. Wouter 1.8 seconds off the back of Larkin. Larkin's really pushed this lap. He's taken 8/10 out of Nathan, and he's now within DRS range, as DRS is enabled and will be enabled from the exit of turn 11. There goes Rocco up the inside of Wouter into one, and that's comfortable for Rocco. Just parks the car in the apex, doesn't give Wouter the chance to go around the outside or cut underneath. Clean, masterful racing there from Rocco to take P3, and another, say, clean move. He's up into the podium places, but with a penalty to his name. It's worth noting, although with Wouter's pace right now, it wouldn't surprise me if Rocco gets the 3 seconds that he needs.
Yeah, Rocco definitely looks like one of the quicker drivers on track, and Larkin set the fastest last lap of the race, so he's looking very quick, and the second he has the chance to catch back up to Nathan, he has done that so far, and he's now in the DRS of the QVR man, not using his ERS. I think he's planning to sit behind for this lap so far, as Brent has gone past Miami for 13th position, and Miami is looking to go back past Brent. He goes to the inside, Brent defends the outside, and I think Miami will have this one so far. As I say that, Brent goes for a massive dive on the inside of Miami. Miami has to switch back, but Brent gets the car stopped and keeps the car so far in place. Breaks a little bit early, which makes Miami think about it, and Miami just dives it down the inside very nicely. And these two are just dueling dives completely so far during this battle. This has been exciting. Brent tries to go around the outside, Miami shuts the door, and Brent has to sit back for now and maybe try again on this next straight.
As a commentator, I love that turn 15 cent. As a driver, you absolutely hate it. Just went on board with Larkin there. He had a moment just trying to get the power down out of turn 1. I think he can see the lead of the race in front of him, very literally. And just got a little bit eager on the throttle there. Marty's had another spin. I think Marty should just retire in case he causes another safety car. Only 22 laps to go, including this one. We are closing towards the end of this race, and picked up a penalty as well in the exit of turn 19. That looked like Marty is coming into the pit lane. He's crashed into the pit lane, and I think he's going to retire. Yes, he is, thankfully. But let's turn our attentions to the battle for first, because Larkin, he's got his ERS open, he's got his DRS on, if I get those the other way around, and he blasts past QVR Nathan into the lead. There's nothing the Haas could do about that. The Alpine has vastly superior speed. I know Larkin is fond of running lower wings in these endure races, And he is duly rewarded as the two Aston Martins now, Pease and Wouter, are battling again into 12. Now comes 13. Wouter sends it back up the inside. Pease is very much shown the curb there. And Wouter defends well enough that Pease can't do that classic turn 15 send. Meanwhile, Luke's going to cut around the outside of Pease through 16. There's going to be no grip out there, but Pease looking very feisty in this race, and you have to think, could Pease, things have gone a little bit different, been in a battle for the win here. Brent spun in turn 17, and Pease going to have another go on his teammate here towards turn 1, using the ERS. Wouter's he's looking to defend, but Pease has got tremendous overspeed. Wouter covers the middle of the track. Pease is going to go even further up the inside. That's going to be a very late and brave send, but it comes off for Pease. He's got the traction to stake a claim for that place, and Luke had a look about trying to do something about one of the Astons, couldn't do it. Behind him, we just saw there briefly Harry Nowag and Campbell look very close, but nothing doing. But Pease through into P4, but this battle 3.1 seconds behind Rocco. Wouter has got no pace whatsoever.
Yeah, Wouter has no pace on those hard tyres so far, but we've seen this with Larkin. These hard tyres might come into play later in the race, as these medium tyres will wear out a little bit. So Wouter is probably just trying to stick with his Aston Martin teammate and try and make him lose as much time as possible. So when those hard tyres come into play, he has a chance. But he has a chance now as well to go down the inside of Pease, down into turn 12, and makes the move done. But however, Pease just with the switchback and the medium tyre has superior gear. Wouter sends it down the inside again, a little bit of contact, and Wouter has to back out of the move, which slows down the entire train. Jay Hings has to concede. Luke is going down the inside of turn 15 of Jay Hings, gives him the curb on the exit, and they're still side by side. Jay Hings, who has a good exit though on those medium tyres, and goes past Luke again. But this battle between those two Aston Martins is affecting the entire train.
Yeah, Jay Hings clobbered the back of Wouter in the middle of turn 13 there. Might have picked up a smidge of front wing damage, may have given Wouter a smidge of rear wing damage, possibly. That was what gave Luke the impetus to have a go. We had a fabulous helicam of that. It was beautiful, spectating as it were. Campbell and Campbell's not really, he's been falling down the field very slowly as Campbell since this restart. I'm wondering if you've seen Wouter do the same. I wonder if the hard tyres are just not it in this race right now. They were earlier on, certainly, but right now, everyone who's on the hards seems to be struggling. Nathan got mauled by Larkin. Wouter's been plummeting. Campbell's slowly sliding his way down. None of these, and they're all quick drivers, but none of these hard runners are having a happy time of it right now. They've all lost places since the restart.
Yeah, that's definitely been the case, and those medium tyres just seem to be a lot quicker at this moment of the race. However, I still believe that those hard tyres could come into play later in the race when those medium tyres wear out just a little bit longer. It will be interesting though if there's another safety car. Those hard runners will very likely pit onto the soft tyres, and we've seen how good those soft tyres are in those first 5 laps, as Brent has gone onto the soft tyres now, in fact. But yeah, the train has been sprinting a little bit. Rocco has been catching Nathan roughly by 2/10 this lap, so he might be looking for a move into going up to 2nd place. So yeah, Rocco's another man to watch for this race, especially with the battle between Nathan, as the two do like each other very much. And it's going to be very interesting. Car Mentalist picks up his first time penalty of the race so far, so he has that 3-second time penalty that will be added to his race time at the end of the race. So his train is still intact. It's now a Jay Hings train, who has, I think, 26 seconds of time penalties. So he'll be in 13th place. 13th place at the end of the race if it ends right now, but it doesn't end right now. It ends in a couple of 18 more laps time. Sorry about that.
As if to illustrate the point about the medium to hard, quickly just want to say, last lap, Wouter was passed by Jay Hings and Luke was passed by Harry Nowag. They are just not working. But as you say, Jay Hings he's got more than a few penalties. He's got a stack of them, hasn't he? 26 seconds is a remarkable amount. RJ lost a couple of places on the last lap as well. I think he got forced out at turn 12. Nathan 1.5 off the back of Larkin. He slipped out of the DRS but it may come back towards him. I mean, Larkin seemed quicker than Nathan at the end of the first stint. Those mediums did end up running to their limits, and Larkin's going to have to take them 27 laps in order to see them satisfy the end of this race, assuming no safety cars are forthcoming. P's 4.3 seconds off the back of Rocco. That Aston, even though it's in clear air, still isn't looking particularly quick. As we said, Jay Hings and Wouter slipped out of DRS range of each other as well. Meanwhile, Harry Noir is next in the Kill Wouter train. He's 2 tenths behind, coming around the last corner. He's going to get DRS towards turn 1. Wouter picks up a penalty in the process of that. That's his first of the day, so significant for him that he's joined the penalty club. It's just our top 2, and RJ and Brent, whom Brent picks up a penalty. As I say that, who are without them. Carmentelis passes teammate Campbell into turn 1. The hard slide continues. Campbell loses a place down to P10, and Wouter could well be next with Harry Noir, the Greek man, hounding the back of him. And was that Coxey and RJ looked like they were running the risk of having a battle there in the middle of the S's, but keeping it clean. Wouters now is back comfortably in Jay Hings' DRS. That might have saved Wouter's blushes from Harry Noir, but it's still not a happy time, is it, for these hard tyres?
Definitely not. These medium tyres look a lot quicker, especially with the fuel that has been burned so far this race. I think those medium tyres they look very good so far. But I'm sticking with my point. Those hard tyres have to get into play. I put all my money and I'm sticking with it. So it better happen, otherwise I'm a fraud. So it's been interesting, as Harry Nork is very close to the back of Wouter. He has tried to make a couple of moves down the inside of turn 15, doesn't decide to do it this lap, and is sticking very close behind the back of the Aston Martin. I think Jay Hings has made a mistake this lap as Wouter's at the exit of turn 15, as Wouter's catched up a lot during this section of the lap, and Jay Hings goes wide at turn 19, and now he's very close to the back of the Ferrari man. And I think Harry Nork is using his ERS, trying to go past the Aston Martin of Wouter, and Wouter is trying to use his ERS to go past Jay Hings, but decides to stick behind. But Harry Nork has a look on the inside, can't quite get the traction to go past the Aston Martin. He has to stick behind for now.
He does indeed, and the gap is very slight between all these cars. 3 tenths per second from Jay Hings to Wouter, from Wouter to Harry Noir. Luke isn't too far back either. No one's really on the fringes of dropping out of DRS. They're all sticking nice and close. Rocco now 1.2 behind Nathan, who himself is now over at 2 seconds behind Larkin. Those medium tyres not showing the signs of dropping off as they hit double figures on the lap count. Rocco doesn't have anything to use. Nathan doesn't have anything to use. Larkin has a 20% in hand, as these three are very far clear of the rest of the field now. Pease is 5 seconds back. He's lost another 6 tenths since we last checked in with him. So let's have a look at the battle with the 2 Ferraris and Wouter now. Jay Hings covers the inside line. Wouter's going to go around the outside. Is he going to get forced? No, Jay Hings is very giving with the space, much more giving than I would have been there, as Wouter goes through, and then Jay Hings lets Harry Noir through as well. And is he going to get Luke through as well? I think that's a bit of D4 naivety perhaps there from Jay Hings, as Luke's now through, gets pushed wide at 15. Jay Hings needed his elbows out a bit more there, but I think he just seized up a little bit in the presence of D1 fraudulence, and Carmentelis almost making it 4 places lost for Jay Hings. And I think that was just being far too passive, far too polite. Jay Hings, with his now 29 seconds of penalties, he should have put on a bit more of a fight there.